Hello and welcome, Matej Zalkai here with Julian Knab from Munich, Germany. And if there's one player I'm rooting for in this room, it's Julian, because he's on a great deck, Elves. Julian, why have you chosen Elves?
Well, it's been kind of my trusty deck for a while, and I've been playing it for 2 years, and I just feel like I'm very experienced with it, and even though it might not be well positioned, I just gain a lot of edges by outplaying people, if it's possible. So I just went back to it and won the trial yesterday, so obviously I have to play it.
So a mono-green deck that has some very interesting synergy. So we'll just run through a deck because while mono-green you would think it's a fairly shallow deck, this deck seems to have a lot of plan A, plan B, plan C. All right, so just walk me through your deck. I see Natural Order, Crater Hoof Behemoth. So that kind of looks combo-ish. So what are you trying to achieve with those?
So what I'm trying to set up is to get 4 creatures into play and then cast Natural Order. That will get Crater of Behemoth into play. It will give +4/+4 to all creatures, and then I'll attack for at least 24, which is most of the time lethal. You can also just hardcast the Behemoth if you want, but yeah, most of the time, especially in game 1, it's Natural Order.
Mm-hmm. How does the Green Sun Zenith work into that?
Green Sun Zenith, you can use it to accelerate out early creatures, but once you get into higher mana territories, you can also just Green Sun Zenith for access 8 and put Crater of Behemoth into play.
Oh, okay. That looks interesting. So basically, plan A is play some dorks, then sacrifice one of them to get the big guy, and then hope that it's enough to kill the opponent, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. Let's move on to plan B, because this is the plan I'm more familiar with, which is the Glimpse of Nature, Heritage Druid, Nettle Sentinel plan. How does this work?
So what you're trying to accomplish is to get, you really need Nettle Sentinel in play, and then you will use Glimpse of Nature, which will draw you a card for every creature that you play. And you're abusing the interaction between Heritage Druid, which lets you tap the Nettle Sentinel for mana, which will then untap once you play a creature and draw a card to actually produce mana with each creature that you play, and basically draw your entire deck, and then if you can't finish them off from there, you're probably doing something wrong. Yeah,
usually once you have Nettle Sentinel, Heritage Druid and play a Glimpse, it's very hard not to draw a lot of cards and kill your opponent,
and
right?
You can even do it as soon as the second turn. I even once did it on the first turn when my opponent cast Show and Tell on his turn, but that's, yeah.
Okay, very edge case scenario, but it can happen. All right, so another row is we start to get to some of the more dorks. I especially want to highlight Deathrite Charm, because I remember this deck used to run Elvish Mystics or Llanowar Elves, but it has only moved to Deathrite Shaman now. Why is that the case?
Yeah, I'm really happy about Deathrite Charm, because Deathrite Charm really put the deck to the next level. It gives you reach, it gives you so much utility, and it's just something to eventually grind out opponents. You can't really grind out opponents with Llanowar Elves, like attack, tap for mana, whatever, but combined with the other 2 cards we got in this row, you can activate Deathrite Champions multiple times over a turn cycle and very, very quickly drain out your opponent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, so that means that plan A, Natural Order, plan B, Glimpse of Nature, plan C, Deathrite Shaman and Little Dorks?
Yeah, exactly, and to accomplish that and to facilitate that plan, you also got what we call the Best Friends team, Voivod Symbiote, that lets you bounce Elvish Visionary back to your hand and replay it. So you're drawing 3 cards over 1 turn cycle, which is insanely good for the deck that looks to grind the opponent out. Once Natural Order has been locked down and you don't draw Glimpse, you can still keep drawing cards and get there.
To explain that, you bounce Visionary during your turn, you play, draw a card, then you bounce it during your opponent's turn, replay it on your turn, you can use the Symbiote again. So it's actually a pretty sweet combo that I've particularly enjoyed. There's also some utility in Quirion Ranger and Bridgelore Ranger. What is this Ranger combo trying to accomplish?
So Ranger is pretty much my favorite card in the entire deck, because it's got so many things that you can do. You protect your dual lands from wastelands, you untap, for example, the Deathrite Shaman. You can keep up the combo, when you're missing 1 elf to tap for a Heritage Druid, you can just do that. And yeah, it's an overall very, very great utility card. You can also use it, that's corner case scenario to block Chitter. If they attack with Umasawa's Chitter, you block with Droid Arbor, bounce it back to your hand, they don't get counters.
Sure.
So.
All right, one thing I want to point out is for Gaia's Cradle, it is a legendary land, but it looks like you can produce a ton of mana in this deck.
Oh yeah, people are always do you really want 4 Gaia's Cradle? Yes, you do, because even the second Cradle gives you a lot of mana that you can either pump into Hardcast Behemoth or Sunnet, so yeah. It's one of the best cards in the deck.
Yeah, it looks awesome. All right, so other lands include fetch lands, of course the 2 Bayous, so you can get the black mana for Deathrite Shrine, that's obvious. Dried Arbors has some extra utility and some creatures to protect, and the Pendelhaven pumps most of the elves, or even those insects in Voivod Symbiote, so that's always key. Quickly about your sideboard, anything that you would like to particularly highlight?
What I want to highlight are the 4 Crozen grips, which I think is still somewhat new to a lot of players. I'm using it to fight Miracles, to go for the Senses Divining top, which is like super important in the matchup, but it's also okay against Omnitel if they go for the Show and Tell and you just Crozen grip the Omniscience when you get the chance to, and they can't do anything about it. That's why I really like that card. I mean, the other stuff is pretty generic. You got your discard, you got the Prop Decay, which is great removal, you got the random Choke to sometimes get them, and Scavenging Ooze, which is pretty good against the decks that can't remove it once it grows out of Lightning Bolt range. And then Surgical Extraction as well to fight combo even better, because you got 6 discard spells, so you want to extract Show and Tell, and that's why it's there.
That's awesome. So that was Julian Knab, Buzzer of Moxen 2013 winner, and definitely wants to grab a title here in Lille.
I hope so.
All right. Of course, everyone does. All right, that's for me, Matej Zalka here at the Decktech.